The day HOA Karen called the police on me, she thought she had finally won. She stood at the edge of my lake, pointing at me like I was a trespasser on my own property. She demanded I join her private lake HOA or face consequences. What she didn't know was that every inch of that shoreline belonged to me, including the water she claimed to control. I stayed calm because I already knew something she didn't. Her biggest mistake wasn't calling the cops. It was giving me the perfect reason to reveal the truth. I had lived beside that lake for years, enjoying the quiet mornings, fishing from my dock, and watching the sunset reflect across the water. The land had been passed down through my family, and the lake was part of the property records. Then, a new neighborhood development appeared nearby, bringing with it a self-appointed HOA leader named Karen. At first, she seemed friendly. Then came the rules. She started leaving notices on my gate, claiming everyone near the lake had to join her HOA. When I refused, she smiled and said, "Everyone follows the rules eventually." I calmly reminded her that I wasn't part of her community. That only made her more determined. Soon, she began threatening fines, restrictions, and even legal action. I thought she was bluffing. I was wrong. That was just the beginning. Karen's behavior quickly went from annoying to unbelievable. She started placing HOA signs near the lake, claiming the water was now a private community amenity. Some neighbors believed her because she spoke with so much confidence that people assumed she knew what she was doing. Then came the warnings. I received fake violation notices for things like unauthorized lake access and failure to comply with community standards. I almost laughed when I saw the paperwork. She was trying to fine me for using something I legally owned. When I ignored her demands, Karen became desperate. She organized meetings, convinced residents that I was the problem, and told everyone I was refusing to be a team player. One afternoon, she even called the police, claiming I was trespassing near the lake. Watching her confidently explain the situation to the officers was almost entertaining. I didn't argue. I didn't yell. I simply waited, because while Karen was building her little empire, I was quietly preparing the one document that would destroy it all. I knew fighting Karen with arguments would only give her more attention, so I decided to fight with facts. I went back through old property records, maps, and legal documents that had been sitting untouched for years. The truth was buried in paperwork, but it was there. The lake wasn't a shared community feature. It wasn't an HOA asset. It was mine. I waited patiently while Karen continued acting like she was in control. Then I made one simple move. I placed a small sign near the shoreline showing the official property information. No threats, no drama, just the truth. That single sign changed everything. Neighbors who had trusted Karen started asking questions. They realized the rules, fines, and warnings were built on something that didn't exist. Her confidence started cracking, and the same people who once supported her began stepping away. Karen still believed she could win. She had no idea the final confrontation was coming. The final confrontation happened at the next HOA meeting. Karen arrived ready to prove she was right, surrounded by neighbors who once believed every word she said. Then, I walked in with the official documents. The room went silent as I explained the property records, the ownership history, and the truth about the lake. Karen's confident smile slowly disappeared as everyone realized she had been controlling something she never owned. One neighbor looked at her and said, "So, all those fines were fake?" Karen had no answer. The police report she filed was dismissed. The fake violations disappeared, and her authority over the lake vanished overnight. I looked at Karen and calmly said, "You didn't lose control of my lake. You never had it." For the first time, everyone saw the difference between having power and pretending to have it. Looking back, the funniest part wasn't that Karen tried to take control of my lake. It was that she was so confident. She never stopped to check if she actually had the right. The biggest lesson I learned is simple. Confidence without truth is just noise. Facts, patience, and preparation will always beat arrogance. Sometimes the quiet person in the room isn't losing. They're just waiting for the right moment to reveal what they already know. If you were in my position, what would you have done? Would you have fought back immediately or waited like I did? Comment "justice served" if you made it to the end. And remember, sometimes the biggest power move is simply owning the truth.